Becoming a steward is a radical, life-changing concept, not a harmless concept. We say there are 4 developments that takes place once folks that realize that God owns it all. We give some of it back to God, we keep some of it and use it wisely, but in all of that we develop 4 hearts, let me say. We first of all, a steward develops a heart of surrender. Once you understand that all your money and all your stuff belongs to God, we don't have to seize everything and anything within our grasp, but we can surrender ourselves to God's direction and to God's will and to God's ownership. We can trust that the God who owns it all will give us what we need. And a lot of the Lord's Prayer is about that very, very concept. We develop a heart of surrender. We can give in to God. We can develop a heart of gratitude. As this is a radical thing. As you sit there and you're at your desk and you're writing your check to the church, or you're making a charitable contribution that's going to impact the kingdom of God somewhere, as you do that, as you give your time and service to the community or to a neighbor, as you attend a church meeting or as you attend a choir practice, the steward basks in the lavish extravagance of God's grace, that God has given us the ability and the power to do these kinds of things. And we're grateful as we're able to exhibit our faith in all aspects of our lives, a heart of surrender, a heart of gratitude, and the steward develops the heart of the master. You know, think about the whole concept of being the keeper of the sty or being the steward. The steward is the caretaker of the master's resources. The steward can no longer just think for himself, but he has to think like his master. How would my master handle this situation? That enlarges a steward's perspective. And in order for the steward to do a very good job, the steward has to develop the heart of the master. And fourthly, has to develop a holistic heart. If we're stewards in any sense, it may be that we give back a small portion of our resources to God in worship. We tend to compartmentalize ourselves. We say stewardship really only applies to our offerings in church. That's just to compartmentalize a small part of our lives. We do that anyway. Being a Christian is the 1 hour we spend in church every week. We don't think about being a Christian 24/7, 365. It broadens our sense of life, of stewardship as a way of life. Stewards also have to think about what we keep. Not only what we give away, but what we keep and how we use it. Stewards also have to think about how we use other of God's resources, like our environment. Stewards have to think about how their practices impact persons in other parts of the world. A holistic heart thinks globally and doesn't compartmentalize stewardship to a very small portion of our life. Culture teaches us one thing, our faith perspective teaches us another, which develops us into disciples of Jesus Christ. So we're faced with a choice. Most of us probably are somewhere in the middle of these two orientations. The question is, what metaphor dominates your life, the consumer or the caretaker? You know, and once you can evaluate that, the question is, who would you like to become? Which orientation do you think fosters better decisions and deepens connection with God and community? The choice is between these two ideas. Do the things of this life come from us, belong to us, and end with us? Or do the things of this life come as a responsibility from God, of which we're temporary beneficiaries, and we find our meaning in using what God has entrusted us for God's highest purposes? Next week, how much is enough?